Welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football. I'm your host, Jason Watkins. And if you love college football, you're definitely in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment of Hall of Fame college football. We are going to have a special guest in here today, Mr. Justin Couz Walker from Couz's Corner. We are going to be previewing this week's big game with the West Virginia Mountaineers. Welcome to the show, Mr. Couz. Justin Couz Walker.
What's up, What's happening, Jason? How you doing, man? Thanks for having me on.
Man, I appreciate you being on, man. Busy guys, I know we both are, man, been enjoying watching your show, and I figured since I jumped over to get on yours, I'd wrangle you up and make sure you stayed with me and let me know what you think about this game this weekend, man.
Let's do it. Yeah. All right, man, I'm excited about it. Obviously, it's always a fun, exciting time to get to go to Norman. I'm definitely going to miss you guys being in the conference. For those Big 12 fans that say that, good riddance, I'd say they're probably not telling you the truth. Losing you guys is going to hurt us, but because we always look forward to playing you,
Yeah, it's kind of bittersweet, right? I think it's bittersweet even for the Oklahoma people. I mean, I think you're excited about the SEC, but at the same time, there's a lot of these games that you've gotten used to playing and stuff. And I've always told you that, West Virginia is one of the first places I actually went and watched a college football game back when I was in the military. So I was able to go to some Morgantown and just loved it. What a freaking amazing place, cool people. But the more you go around these places and stuff, and as much as people talk crap on Twitter and stuff like that, most fans are very welcoming when you get there. I went to Cincinnati this year. Freaking amazing, amazing. I loved it.
Most college football fans are just there to enjoy a game, and most fans, at least in Morgantown, a lot of us will even go out of our way to walk up and shake the opposing fans' hands and welcome them to Morgantown or welcome them to West Virginia, whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's good for the economy, number one.
Yeah.
It's good for college football, and it's what it's all about, man.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, West Virginia is a cool place, man. West Virginia is a very cool place.
Well,
so let's get into this game this weekend. Look, both these teams, Oklahoma and West Virginia, we talked about on your show, West Virginia coming in on a 2-game win streak. Oklahoma's lost 2 in a row after starting 7-0. Looking forward to kind of a bounce back being at home this week, but I know this is going to be one of those games where they're both still outside shot at getting into the conference championship game.
Right.
What do you feel about this game? What are your expectations this week as far as how the game should play out?
Yeah. Well, I think it'll be a game where it's going to the team that wins is going to be the team who dictates the pace.
Yeah.
Obviously, Oklahoma's probably going to want to run that hurry up offense where they can run, 80 plays, 85 plays. Whereas West Virginia's probably going to want to try to slow it down a little bit. Want to run the football a lot, control the clock, win time of possession, those kind of things. And I think whichever team is able to dictate that pace is probably going to win. If it gets into a shootout, even though West Virginia's offense has played much better the last few weeks, I still think a shootout favors the Sooners in this one. And then, but if West Virginia can slow it down, control the clock, run the football well, then I think, they have a really, really legit shot to win this game.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, and I think coming into the season, and we talked a little bit about that on your show, but I was at Big 12 Media Days, and I remember Neil Brown coming in there and just that defiance of they've been being picked to finish last, and all season you've seen them kind of use that. Garrett Green is just kind of one of those. You called him earlier. He's a dog. He just got that dog in him. He's going to go out there. He plays hard. He runs the ball well. Oklahoma fans remember him very well from last year. He really hurt Oklahoma in that game. It was a game that they felt like they should have won, and he kind of took it away from them. So it's talk about what you have seen from him and his maturation from last year to now.
It's been amazing. He, a lot of fans were actually pushing for him to play more 2 years ago when we had Jarrett Daggy. He would have been a sophomore, I guess, at the time, or a redshirt freshman. And we knew he had the athleticism and the running ability, but his problem then was he wasn't experienced enough. He didn't know he didn't go through his reads properly. He would look at his first read and then take off if it wasn't there, and he wasn't taking care of the football well either. I don't think at practice. So until he got to the point where he could read the defense better, make his reads, cut down on the mistakes and all that. They didn't trust him being a starter, but they wanted to use him in spots where they could use his athleticism. Well, this year, what his maturation is, he's always had the arm talent. He's a former catcher. He could probably have played in the big leagues.
He can throw it. Yeah.
He's got a rifle for an arm. His accuracy is not always great, and he struggles with putting touch on the ball at times on the shorter throws, but his arm strength is really good, and his accuracy on the intermediate and longer throws are really good. He's really good, but it's just his ability, his leadership ability has really, really grown, man. The team just gravitates around him. They love him. They love his energy that he brings.
Right.
He very rarely gets down. He's always keeping the guys up. He's just enthusiastic, and he's just got that it factor, man. He's never afraid of the moment. Kind of like, I've heard you say the same thing about Dylan Gabriel. He's not afraid of the moment, man, and he doesn't seem to let it get to him. Matter of fact,
I think last year when he had to, he was rushed into action. He wasn't playing to start with. You had Daniels out there.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're right. Yeah. And he's protecting the football well. He's making his reads better now. He's making better decisions in the RPO game. Just for him, it was all mainly mental, and just
growing up a little bit.
Growing up and learning how to be a quarterback and not just a football player. And he's done a really good job with that this year.
And obviously, you have a really interesting up and coming freshman behind him. But one of the things I wanted to ask you about, something that I've kind of noticed, was that he took a lot of heat for early celebration in that Houston game. Of course, they lost on a Hail Mary, but he ended up getting a penalty for that.
Right. And
he spent so much time apologizing to his teammates and taking and owning up to what happened.
Exactly.
Not only that, but they get back that next day to Morgantown, and apparently him and one of his offensive linemen, they go and see some hospital kids or something like that? That is leadership, right? Rather than just going and hiding from everybody, he stepped out in front, took on responsibility for what happened in the game. I don't think it was necessarily all his fault. It wasn't good that he put them in the situation where they got another shot. But you shouldn't give up a Hail Mary either.
And he had just thrown the touchdown to put him ahead with 12 seconds left in the game too.
Correct.
And like Coach Brown said, without Garrett, we're not even in a situation we were in the first place. We were never in the lead. You know what I mean, in that situation to begin with. So
my thing was, rather than him like getting upset with the backlash that I know he and understandably got, he owned it, right?
He did own it, and he always does every week. And that's another reason we all love him so much. He and his teammates love him. He will tell you right up front, this offense goes the way I go. It'll be as good as I let it be. He's made comments like that, and he knows he's the leader. He's the quarterback, and he owns that, and he's never shied away from it. He embraces it, and he puts everything on his shoulders. He never throws his teammates under the bus. Or his coaches. He takes ownership for everything, man, and it's
kind of a breath of fresh air.
It is.
Have, right?
Absolutely.
Very cool stuff. Talk to me a little bit about your skill position guys. Who do Oklahoma fans need to be watching for?
Right. We kind of have a two-headed monster at running back now with C.J. Donaldson, who's the downhill runner, 240-pound guy, and then we have the last 2 weeks we've really seen the emergence of true freshman Jaheim White, number 22. He's built like a Deuce Vaughn type guy. He's only about 5'7", 5'8". 195 pounds. He's elusive. He can flat out fly. So I call him thunder and lightning. And of course I can't take. There's a lot of people calling them that, but they're a really good 1-2 punch. And those two have kind of taken hold of the reins there at the running back spot. So they both had over 100 yards rushing last week against BYU. And then as far as the receivers go, our leading receiver as far as catches is our tight end, Cole Taylor, the transfer from LSU.
Right.
They involve him a lot in the offense. And then Devin Carter is a transfer from NC State, the grad transfer. He's our leading receiver as far as yards goes.
Okay.
And then Hudson Clement has been out 2 weeks, but he's leading as far as yards per catch. He's kind of our big play guy on the other end.
Yeah, I'd say 84. That's the one I saw.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's a big play dude. Yeah. But as you said, this is going to be one of those teams that's going to try. For them to win, they probably want to control the pace a little bit. We talked about it on your show, but let's kind of go through it here again. This is a a offensive line that has a lot of experience on it, and even if you've had some injuries and stuff like that, you continue to have guys that you got a lot of juniors and seniors on this O line, right?
Right.
It's just they're kind of you're going to probably expect a big game from them if you're going to be able to control the pace, wouldn't you think?
Oh, absolutely. They are the cog that makes this wheel turn, man. They this running game that we've had that's been successful has been because of those guys. I mean, Zach Frazier, All-American center, right there. He's probably going to be a pretty high draft pick. You've got Wyatt Milam at left tackle, who's a junior. Who's both of those guys started as true freshmen at West Virginia. And both of them have been grading out really well, according to PFF, about all year.
Yeah.
Right tackle, you got Doug Nestor. We're hoping he'll be back this week. He suffered a foot injury or a leg injury of some sort against UCF a couple weeks ago. We're hoping to have him back. He's another senior. And then we've got two guards that Tomas Remack, who's a sophomore, who's been really solid, and then Brandon Yates, Jaquay Hubbard, kind of rotating at that other guard spot. Both have a lot of experience there.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Listen, it's been kind of a fun team to watch. Earlier in the year, I didn't expect a whole lot out of them, but I did catch part of that Penn State game, and I was like, wow, they kind of hung around a lot longer than I thought they would. And then the next few weeks kind of go along, and you just kind of see them continue to win games. And then, of course they lost that Houston game, but they bounced back right away. I don't know. It's just to me, when I saw Neil Brown at the Big 12 Media Days, and he was genuinely, you could see it in him that he felt disrespected. Is that just kind of the attitude that they've taken over? We're going to talk a little bit about your defense real quick, but I mean, the attitude that this team has taken is just not having any kind of respect.
Absolutely, they've worn that on their shoulders, on their sleeves all year. It's been their motto every game: 14th until proven different. That's what they say when they break huddles. I mean, they had a guest speaker come in and talk about it. I mean, it's it's been their mantra mainly, and they're even though they're 6-3. And still in the hunt for a conference title game appearance, they're still using it, and they're going to use it till the end of the year, I would imagine.
Yeah, listen, I think that it's I think it's the best story in the Big 12 this season. I really do. I think that Oklahoma State's a good story after the way they started, and then the way they kind of collapsed there for a couple of games, and then the way that they've been playing since. That's a great story as well. But I don't think that you can. Just talking to him, and I think that you could see it in Neil Brown's face that he's like, man, you got all these new teams coming in that are coming from the G5. They're not recruiting on the level that we are, and he just felt. I mean, I don't think he expected to be ranked in the top 4, but he didn't expect to be ranked last either out of 14 teams. So you could see it in it, and I remember talking to Coach Roybal there, and he said, yeah, I don't know, man. He goes, it could be a good thing for him though. I remember him saying that, and it turns out it has been. I think it's a great story. Tell me about this defense, because it's as big as anything is the way that this defense plays. And particularly, you said, like you talked about in your preview, is that secondary, man. They've been very, very good. You've got one of the top corners in the country, probably the top corner in the country. He's an All-American type of guy. Oklahoma, generally, you're going to need to get the passing game going. How tough is that going to be for OU going up against the secondary?
Well, I think it's going to be tough. I mean, West Virginia has their secondary they took some lumps early in the year, but they've just gradually gotten better and better and better as the season goes on, and a lot of that is because of Benny Bishop, the guy you're talking about. I mean, he just continues to step up and make plays. He's leading the country in passes defended, pass breakups. He's in the top 10, I think, in interceptions. Wow. He's just making plays, man, and he's been a huge get for us over from Minnesota, who only put him as a nickelback, which I'm still baffled about.
Wow, and they're not that good, so that's weird.
Yeah, I don't know, but anyway, we just had guys. It's been crazy, Jason. The guys that were much maligned a year ago because our secondary was terrible, and let's face it.
That was the toughest part of I think so.
And we got a lot of those guys. Some of those guys were back this year, especially at the safety spots. And they just said, daggone it, we're going to play better this year, and they've stepped up and they've gotten better. They simplified the defense a little bit from a schematic standpoint, so the guys didn't have to think as much. It's allowed them to play faster, more freely. And a lot of it too. Last year, we just had some guys that didn't have a whole lot of experience at this level. We had a lot of JUCO guys. We had some transfers, and some of these guys, it took them a couple of years, And we're just now getting some guys to come into their own, and then you add in the really good transfers we've gotten, and it's just been a good. And our defense still has its weaknesses. I mean, we're not world beaters by any means. We've struggled to stop the run the last few weeks, with the exception of BYU. But our pass defense has been really
coming
solid.
in from the G5. That's they're going to have to make up ground when it comes to the roster. You know what I mean? I think that goes for all of them. You can see UCF. I mean, UCF gave Oklahoma all they wanted, but you can see that they're going to be very good. I think at some point they're not that there yet depth wise with their talent. I think.
And they and RJ Harvey, that running back they have, who West Virginia gave up 100 yards to, is really good. I mean, he's
stud, dude.
That dude's a good. And then we also played, obviously Ollie Gordon in that stretch too. So, he ran for 280 yards against us. So that hurts that average a lot. But if you take those two games out of the equation, our run defense has not been that bad.
Yeah, no, and I think that obviously Oklahoma, they've struggled in the run game. So. The hope is that that you can kind of get that going with Gavin Sawchuk and stuff like that. But if I was to ask you for Oklahoma or for West Virginia to win, what does the game look like to you if West Virginia wins this game? They'll win if.
Yeah, I think it needs to be a game it needs to stay in the 20s or low 30s from a scoring perspective. Meaning the winning team needs to have that probably. West Virginia has to have success running the football. We have to be able to stop Oklahoma on first downs to keep you guys behind the chains so that you don't get into your high tempo offense. I think that's going to be critical, and we're going to have to force a couple turnovers. We've got to win the turnover battle. I think that's a necessity in this game, is to win the turnover battle. To me, those are the three keys to me in winning this game. Okay.
All right. Well, yeah, and I think you're probably right there. I coming into it, I would think that, and I think I told you this on your stream. You really have to, if you're Oklahoma, and we needed this the last 2 weeks, you need to jump out ahead because you don't want to play at the pace that they want to play at West Virginia right now.
Right.
They've got that offensive line again. You've got a lot of experience, a lot of talent there. They're juniors and they're ready for a fist fight. So the good news is, I think Oklahoma's defensive front is game. And it will be ready for that, but I think that could be a huge matchup. But I think that if you're Oklahoma, you definitely want to jump out ahead and not let this. You need to turn it into kind of a bit of a track meet if you want to win the game. So
I agree with it.
Well, Couz, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. I know you got other things going on, but tell everybody how to find you.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube at Couz's Corner. That's COUZ' Corner. I cover West Virginia, the Big 12, a lot of conference realignment talk. You can find me on Twitter or X at Couz at COUZ206. It's Couz206 on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook page. I have a website, Couz'sCorner.com. You can check out all my work there, including blogs, podcasts, YouTube, the whole bit. So yeah, I look forward to interacting with everyone on those platforms.
Yeah, folks, everybody, if you're not already a subscriber to Couz's Corner, you should definitely be a subscriber. It is indeed top shelf college football content. Again, we appreciate having you on, Couz, and look forward to talking with you after the game this week.
Absolutely, Jason. Thanks again for having me on, brother.
No problem, man. Thank you.